afternoon, folks, and welcome to Alliance Gets Non-Pass, Orange People's News Update. I'm George.
And I'm Heather.
First up today, I'd like to talk a little bit about a town ordinance that I'm passing around town down in Plymouth right now. We've passed it in Campton. It's a town ordinance restricting any high voltage DC or AC lines going up on these towers. They'll have to be buried along two common rights of ways, we hope, on a highway, state highways and state roads. We're working on that. So there are ordinances. If you go to our website, nonortherpass.org, you'll be able to download one for your town. We'd appreciate it if you did that and got it in the works, got 25 signatures, and turn it into your town administrator and get it on your warrant articles for March. Second on my list is, it seems like Northern Pass has infiltrated Campton. They've bought one piece of property, and they're in the process of buying another piece of property and a butter's piece of property that they need to open the existing right-of-way to 225 feet. So be aware of who approaches you to buy your property. They are in Campton, and they are buying property. I'm hoping and praying that you don't sell to them. Now I'd like to turn it over to Heather. Heather has a few things to talk about here. What's going on with House Bill 648. Heather?
Thanks, George. Okay, so House Bill 648 is on the hot seat again tomorrow. By the time some of you guys watch this, it may have already gone up in front of the Senate. I want to just talk about hot off the press. We have the Carson-Bradley amendment on the hot seat tomorrow. The Carson-Bradley amendment for HB 648 is an amendment cooked up by Carson and Bradley, Sharon Carson and Jeb Bradley. Carson is a Democrat and Bradley is a Republican. So this crosses the party lines, but one thing's for sure, they were both paid off by PSNH with a lot of campaign money. But the latest news is that at our last Senate hearing for HB 648, it appears that our least favorite PSNH lobbyist, Donna Gabosh, was texting again. Now, those of you who have been following this, Donna has been texting regularly, apparently, to these senators, and it was the House of Representatives before, Nick Lavoisier. And there's definitely ethical questions in the fact that she is doing this, and she seems to be puppeteering these senators and House of Representatives to do her bidding. So HB 648, again, is very important to PSNH, although they will not admit that they want to take eminent domain. They have to, probably because not everybody's going to sell to them. So in order for them to complete this project, it's important that they actually are able to exercise the power of eminent domain. So they're up there, and they are working the senators for all they're worth. And Jeb Bradley is one of their prime focuses. Now, Jeb Bradley is a Republican, but before he was a straight-laced Republican, he was a street magician in Switzerland with long hair.
Hocus pocus on us.
And then when he moved back to New Hampshire, he had an organic grocery called Evergreen, what was it called? Anyway, Evergreen Natural Grocery or something like that, Natural Foods. And since then has cut off his hair and kind of sold out to the interests that he's covering in the Senate, okay, which are oil, energy, and pharmaceutical companies. All right, so what he does is he takes money from large corporations, and we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, and then he votes to further their interests. Okay, so PSNH is just one of them, and he is doing their bidding. So what he and Sharon Carson did was cooked up this HB 648 amendment that looks good on paper. It says, you know, we're going to treat you fairly if we have to take eminent domain. First of all, it does not stop private transmission projects from taking eminent domain through loopholes. And this is how PSNH plans to take eminent domain with Hydro-Quebec on the Northern Pass project, is through a loophole. And one of the ways they do that is by claiming they're a public utility and that they're for the good of the state. somehow. And that is very broadly established by saying something like they're going to lower the electricity cost by 97 cents a month for you. So in that, they also, in their amendment, Carson and Bradley stated in their beautiful amendment that what they want to do is they made the laws for eminent domain, they sort of updated the laws, which means that in the new eminent domain procedures, if your land is taken, you'll be given twice the appraised value. And that sounds like it's good, but in actuality, they've been offering between 5 and 10 times the appraised value for land in order to get their route established. So by only having to offer you 2 times the amount, it actually paves the way for them to have a really nice, cheap eminent domain procedure where PSNH wins and any other private transmission line wins in the deal. So you lose with the Carson-Bradley amendment. The Forrester-Bragdon amendment is the one you want to tell the senators you want to see enacted, because what that does is it syncs together Article 12A, which was established in 2006 because of the Kelo versus New London, Connecticut decision on eminent domain, to not allow private companies to take eminent domain. It says that in Article 12A, but RSA 371.1, we had to add wording to that specifically denies participant-funded projects, such as the Northern Pass, from ever even being eligible for any eminent domain for any reason. They cannot use a loophole. So 12A and 371.1 are synced together and fortified so that private projects, not just the Northern Pass, but other private transmission or other projects, cannot take eminent domain in the state of New Hampshire, which is important. Your property rights are important. And so this goes well beyond the Northern Pass project and goes right into a New Hampshire property rights issue. So please call your senators and tell them to vote for the Forrester-Bragdon amendment.
Word of interest, Friday from 10 to noon time at Pease Library, there's going to be a woman from California, and this woman represents a company that develops small hydroelectric plants, and they're looking at, I believe they're looking at New Hampshire to build 6 small hydroelectric plants. And I would say that Livermore Falls used to be a hydroelectric plant. It's one source of energy for us. So if you're really interested in hydroelectricity and want to listen to this woman, she's going to be here. She's flying all the way out from California, and she has some ideas for us on how to fight off these high voltage DC lines and towers coming down from Canada. So if you can make it, Friday, 10 a.m. to noon.
The 27th of January, this Friday.
27th of January. We'd appreciate your attendance.
Yes, and what that does is small hydro is far less damaging than the big hydro, and it also enables our state to be more self-sufficient, self-sustainable
energy
without taking the big hydro from Canada.
Right.
So there you go. Okay, we got to end it up.
Hope to see you Friday.
Yes.
10 a.m.
KnowNorthernPass.org, and support us at KnowNorthernPass.org if you want to email us with any information. Thank you.
Okay, my name is George.
And I'm Heather.
And we're from
Happy New Year.
Alliance Against the Northern Pass. Good night.